right, so we're going to just start with the questions, and you can think about it a little bit and then answer, or, you know, if you just want to shoot off, then you can. Okay, so Brooklyn, it's Mother's Day 2021, and you've been blessed to have both your mother and your grandmother to celebrate. How do you feel about your grandmother's influence over your life?
My grandma's influence on my life is very good, informational. She gives great advice, and she's been there since really since the beginning until this day. So I feel like my grandma was, the second parent to be there for me and to help me through everything I needed.
What is your first memory of your grandmother?
First, a memory would have to be the summers going to Oklahoma and being in the shop, the wing shop, and all the memories at her house.
Well, talk to me about one memory, or
Um,
or two. It don't matter.
one memory would have to be the long nights at the shop and um, getting taken to like Boys and Girls Club and all the like events and when she worked at the catering business, being down there and being at the little catering events when she could bring me. But mostly, I remember all the memories at the wing shop.
Okay. And what did you used to do with your grandmother at the wing shop?
I used to mostly, when I was younger, I was just there, standing around, like taking naps in like the back room. But when I became older and I learned like the menu more and the flavors and what they were selling and offering, and I was getting used to the loyal customers coming in, I was able to take orders and give food to the customers.
And how did your grandma like? How'd your grandmother like feel about that, or what did you used to do with your grandmother at the shop,
I
specifically with
would
your grandmother?
take orders and prepare foods and taste all the different sauces and flavors she had because she had a lot.
Okay. What do you call your grandmother, and where did that come from?
I call my grandmother Gigi because I believe when I was younger, that's what I could say, and I wasn't able to say grandma. So ever since then, I've always called her Gigi.
Do you think that as you become a grown up, like in your 30s and stuff like that, that you'll still call her Gigi?
Yeah, and like sometimes I might say grandmother to people who aren't familiar with who she is or what I call her, but mostly day in and day out, I call her Gigi.
Okay. Well, describe the relationship between you and your grandmother today.
Relationship with me and my grandmother today would be good. I always talk to her about a lot of things and things that I think I need to come to her about to get a perspective so I won't come off wrong or if I won't do the wrong things. And I feel like my Gigi is just like another second parent, like anybody who had like a dad or like an aunt they look up to or something like that.
Okay. Think about all the special moments between you and your grandmother, and you tell me what is your most special moment that you remember with your grandmother.
My most special moment would have to be I really truly appreciated on my Sweet 16 all the decor and everything that she put into everything was like homemade by her and you know I believe she started a month or two out already starting with stuff to put together for my party and back then she was really big in the arts and crafts. Like she would make bracelets out of the wires or rings and necklaces out of like steel, like silver or metal. And so she put all the like table decor together and all the like signs. She did most of that. So I really truly appreciate having that as help for my Sweet 16.
Okay. If you could have your mom as your mom or your grandmother as your mom, who would you pick and why?
I think I have my Gigi as my mom only because I feel like when my Gigi was when I was younger, she was a different person. And then when she became older, she became like, oh, this would be somebody to have like as a teenage mother. My Gigi is very open. Like you are able to. I can express myself with my mom, but with my Gigi, I can express myself, and I feel like no judgment at all. And I also feel like my Gigi lets me do a lot of things that my mom really questions for days about. So like, if I wanted to go get like a tattoo or something, my Gigi's like, well, I mean, if you got the money for it, I mean, you can do it. But my mom like, what's the meaning? What's the background? Like, why do you need it? Is a job gonna accept that? Like all of that type of stuff. And I think like Gigi is like at this age with her being older and just like, it's life. I think she's down for a lot more things than my mom is like more like open about. My mom is like, I don't know. So I would have a Gigi. Yeah.
What have you learned about being a woman from your grandmother?
I've learned to not be depending on another person, like even like friendships, but mostly like with guys, not to be depending on them to do things for you, and also be prepared ahead of time, and whatever they do is just a plus. Like never expect someone to deliver or do anything for you. Do that for yourself, and if someone else does that for you, that's just a plus on top of that.
What was the saddest time that you've ever had with your grandmother?
The saddest time I ever had, I think the saddest time was when my Gigi and my papa divorced, because that was like really hard for me, and especially not having like already like my papa was like kind of looked at to me as a father figure already. So to already lose like another like male kind of like in my life that I looked up to like as a father figure really hurt. And you know, I grew up with them every summer, like always going to Lawton and always like being them, being in the shop and the Masons and like in Walton. I was knowing if I wasn't with my Gigi, I was with my papa. So when they kind of like divorced, it was a major change for me. And it was a major shift. Like I think my Gigi was another person, not bad, but like just transitioning to being single. I think she was another person. So I think that was the saddest part for me, and not having both grandparents all at once.
Okay. What have you learned about motherhood from your grandfather? Wait. What have you learned about motherhood from your grandmother?
Motherhood from my grandmother, I've learned that I would like to be married before I have a child first. That's from my mom and my Gigi though. I also learned to be patient. Like in my teenage years with me and my mom, I had to be like patient and understanding of both sides, especially with like just teenager and her mom and clashing. I had to understand there were things that was doing that would upset my mom, and there were things that I didn't understand from my mom's perspective. So my Gigi was able to tell me to be open-minded from a daughter standpoint and also from a mom standpoint.
What is the best thing about having a grandmother?
The best thing about having a grandmother is kind of like having a second mom. It's just like when kids go to their mom about something and then they want like another ear, they go to their dad. Well, that's with me and my mom. Like if I talk to my mom about something, I might be like, well, Gigi, how do you feel about it? So I think the best thing is always having my grandma there for support, for advice, for extra love, and
Influence on your mom.
influence on my mom also. So yeah, I just like to have another year because with with me just being my mom like all my life, having my Gigi there on the side also was very helpful for me.
Okay. Who cooks better, your mom or your grandma?
I think okay, so I feel like I feel like okay, so back in the day, I would say my Gigi with the wings. I like how my Gigi cooks wings and how she delivers the flavor and things. Now, I would say I like my Gigi better in desserts than I like my mom, but I like my mom better in full like course meals, lunches, and dinners. So, yeah, my Gigi desserts and my mom like whole meals.
What would you tell your children about your grandmother?
I would tell my children about my grandmother that she was very opinionated. She was very like, at a point, I said what I said, it's my way or the highway. But I feel like overall, when you speak to her, like she's also human, like everybody makes mistakes, but when you speak to her and you tell her your perspective after maybe 20 minutes, she'll open up and understand where you're coming from.
What is one trait that your grandmother has that you would like to take on?
Um, I would like to take on a trait that my grandma has is how family oriented she was, like back in the day, having a husband and children, and just having a big family with a nice home. I would also like to have that for my kids also, and yeah.
Last question or last statement. Look in the camera and leave a message for your grandmother on this Mother's Day.
Okay, I would like to say that I appreciate you a lot and I love you a lot, and I'm very happy that I'm able to have you still here with me to experience birthdays, achievements, graduation, and many more things that will happen in my life. And I just appreciate you still being here because a lot of people don't have their grandparents or weren't raised by their grandparents at all. So I hope you have a great Mother's Day, and I love you so much.
Thank you.